The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Yankees Week in Review. Listen in throughout the baseball season as we will go over the week that was for the New York Yankees. We'll talk about what went right, what went wrong this week, this day in Yankees history, Yankees birthdays, and predictions of what the Bronx Bombers record will be at the end of the upcoming week. It's 1420 Yankees Week in Review, the Yankee Tavern North, brought to you by SeatGeek. So put on your pinstripe, grab a beer, and let's get in. All right, Yankees Week in Review, 1420 style. Today's show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase over there at SeatGeek. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com and also to bellyupfantasy.com. And be sure to check out the Belly Up Fantasy Baseball Show. It's hosted by Kevin and Vince over there at Belly Up Sports. Everything you need to know about fantasy baseball for the upcoming season. Might as well get a handle on it now before it's too late. Get the inside edge from Kevin and Vince over there at Belly Up Fantasy. And thank you to everybody who listens to the other shows we got going on here at 1420 World Headquarters. But for right now, she's known as the Yankee Tavern North. Yankee fans, have the Yankees done enough this offseason to convince you that they're a playoff team or they're not a playoff team, or where you might stand? You got championship aspirations? Do you just hope that they're a playoff team this year compared to their 82-80 record where they finished 19 games out of first place last season? A little blip in the radar, still above 500, but not nearly good enough. I'm not, as you know, who the people who listen to the 1420 Yankee Week in Review, they know I'm more of a realistic baseball fan, sports fan. I don't expect a championship season out of my team. I like it year in, year out, but I'm realistic that doesn't necessarily happen. It's been a long time since 2009. It's a long time ago. And even think about the last time Derek Jeter played, it's now 10 years ago to this season. So all those the dynasty years, everything else are way behind us, and it's time to build for the Yankees. I almost said we there. It's time for the Yankees to build on and get something new going on there. And I think they're on the right track here. Do I like this team to be a championship team? I don't know about that yet. We'll see how things go come spring training and injuries and everything else, because a lot has to go right on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis throughout spring training, throughout the regular season, and throughout the playoffs, everything for it to be a championship team. You can prognosticate and say what you want and hope and pray that your team is going to be the team to finally get over the hump. But it's a lot of work has to get done. A lot of things have to go right. You have to have a lot of people who didn't factor into the season, maybe a trade here and there, a guy here and there that might not be on the radar of the franchise right now, but it might be somebody that comes out of nowhere, the trade deadline or something that goes on. And that's with all teams, not just the Yankees. But this is a Yankee-centric podcast for today, and so we'll get on what I think about this Yankees lineup, what's going to happen going to. I'm a grown-up, don't say gonna, Brent. What's going to happen with the Yankees this upcoming season. Aaron Boone was on Kevin Rosenthal earlier on this week on his podcast. He was prognosticating what he thought and what hopes that the Yankees lineup was going to be. And he made a couple of comments that kind of caught my earballs when I was listening to it, that he was hoping that DJ LeMahieu was going to be the leadoff guy. Yeah, you hope and dream and everything else, but that DJ could have a bounce back year. He's I think his best days are behind him. I still like DJ in the field a lot, but the days of him hitting over 300 and slashing the ball around the field, I think that those days might be behind him. I hope he's got a couple more left in him, because the Yankees are in a spot right now where they really got to take advantage of the team that they have this year, acquiring Juan Soto, the big acquisition they got, because who knows how long they're going to have him, and then how many more years do they have at peak Aaron Judge and peak Garrett Cole. So you got to think that this year, having your leadoff guy getting on base on a consistent basis, maybe going back to the old days when you wanted your leadoff guy to just get on base and the like and not strike out and all that. So for this team to be successful, I think that DJ's got to be that guy at the top of the order. And if Boone says he hopes the guy is going to have a comeback year, I don't know just the way he worded that, if he has the utmost in faith of DJ LeMahieu being that guy. Like when you just say hope, you're just hoping. You're not saying he's going to, and that's one of those things you got to look at that. Then he said that you're probably going to have Juan Soto, big acquisition from the San Diego Padres this year, free agent after this season, gets on base a ton, more walks per season than a lot of guys throughout baseball. He's got a great eye at the plate, and he hits the ball all over the place. And he's going to be I think he's going to really, really benefit from that short porch out there in right field at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. I think Soto's the guy that's going to have himself a better season because of this trade than the guys hitting behind him. Yes, Judge hitting behind him is going to probably benefit because you're going to have a couple of guys get on base and all of a sudden two guys are on and all of a sudden Judge is up to bat. He see the pitches because the guy hitting behind him, what they're thinking about Stanton be hitting behind him. I don't know if Stanton's the guy. I don't have much faith in Stanton. I haven't had much faith in him since they acquired him. People who listen to the 1420 podcast and with me and Jim at the Fan of the Van, we're not big Stanton guys, and so he's got to have a big season this year, and he's got to get off to a great start because I think there's going to be a very tight leash on Giancarlo Stanton on his at-bats and how things are going to go because if he gets off to a poor start, he's going to be they're going to pitch. They're not going to pitch to Judge. They're not going to pitch to Soto, and he's going to really affect the things that happened before and after him in that lineup because he was almost an automatic out at times last season, and not at times, a lot of last season. So if he has a 199 batting average when Jason Dominguez comes off the IL, which hear me out on this one, when Dominguez comes back off the IL and not able to hit or to throw, you can still put him as a DH because Stanton's only going to be a DH this year. He won't even have to have a glove a la Edgar Martinez kind of deal back with the Mariners back in the 90s. You're going to see, I think you'll see Dominguez getting a chance to maybe jump into that lineup as a DH, kind of like Bryce Harper did a few years back with the Phillies when he was done, and say, okay, you're a DH for the rest of this year till you can start throwing, then we'll put you in the outfield or wherever it might be. So I think you're going to see a very short leash on Giancarlo Stanton this year. At least I hope so, because he's really going to affect what happens with that entire lineup and getting games off to a good start. Because you don't want to fall behind early, like they tend to do with Garrett Cole for some reason. He was better this past season, but Cole's one of those guys that doesn't mind giving up the odd first inning home run now and then. So it's one of those things you really hope that Stanton can be that guy to get some at bats and get some quality at bats and having a situation where he's going to be an effective guy in that lineup at the DH position. A guy that I'm really interested in that's coming back this year, and apparently for all signs are pointing that his concussion problems are behind him, and he's got a situation there where you're going to see him getting a lot of at-bats early, being in spring training early, and proving that his coconut's okay. And you worry about those kind of things when it comes to brain injuries, because the stuff that we know now that we didn't know 15, 20 years ago. You hope that Rizzo is 100% cleared to go, because the Yankees didn't handle that situation very well last season after his situation that he had, his injury that he acquired playing those San Diego Padres. And you just hope that Anthony Rizzo is going to have a good bounce back season health wise, because I think the guy's an effective bat from the left side and everything else, and his defense at first base can't be forgotten about. Because I think he's a upper echelon fielder at first base. Is he a top tier guy? I think he is. I think he's one of the best in baseball, and that's just not my Yankee bias speaking there. But I think you're going to have a guy with has something to prove, something to get off to a great start and say, okay, yeah, I'm ready to go, and we're going to get this team to win a championship, and it'll be his second of his career if the Yankees can somehow pull that off. Then you move on to Gleyber Torres. A lot of people are talking about Torres because his contract is up this season. Are they going to trade Gleyber for some prospects? They don't want to lose him. But I think with Gleyber Torres, what you're going to have with him is you're going to see a guy, a really good season. I think you're going to see a guy that's going to be able to put bat to ball a lot. You're going to see a lot of situations because you have a pretty good hitter in Verdugo behind him, so he's going to see some pitches to hit as well. So I think that you're going to see Gleyber stick around and be a major factor. I wouldn't mind seeing Gleyber move up in the lineup because he had such a great year last year. I wouldn't mind seeing him move up in the he doesn't run very well, but I wouldn't mind seeing him being a leadoff guy. I think he's the kind of guy I'd lead off more than DJ would be personally. I think you want to get to DJ back a little bit in that lineup and not give him a chance to fail and then get it between his own ears and everything else, because I think Gleyber is hot. He's got something to prove this year, and you get a lot of guys in their contract years, and everybody knows this, guys like getting paid. So you put Gleyber at the top of that lineup, he can get some production numbers, get on base, do his job, and he's going to have a season for the New York Yankees. I don't see them trading him. I think they're going to sign him long-term personally, because they have that window. Like I said, they want to utilize Rizzo. They want to utilize Judge. They want to utilize Garrett Cole and everything else, and Soto. They want to utilize these guys to get onto a championship kind of a season. And Gleyber Torres, there's not many guys better at second base in the major leagues. So why you would even consider getting rid of this guy early is a bit of a mystery. If the Yankees stumble and get off to the kind of a season like they had last year, you might see Gleyber Torres getting dealt before or around the trade deadline. But I think right now the Yankees they're pretty much they're happy with the situation at second base with Gleyber Torres and the way it goes. Now the guy that's going to be interesting for me. Actually, there's two guys going to be interesting for me this year with the New York Yankees as I tune in, watching the games on a daily basis over there on the Yes Network or Pix 11 or whatever it might be, or even when they're playing. Because you can't watch. We've talked about that 1,000 times. How we get blackouts. We have to watch the Jays telecast when the Yankees are playing the Jays because of Canada and everything else. But we won't get to bore you guys with those little tidbits of information. But the one guy that's interesting for me, and I was a bit of against this pickup and this acquisition, was Alex Verdugo. And there's another one we'll get to with Marcus Stroman later on, but. With Alex Verdugo, I just there's something about the guy that's always rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm not a big Verdugo guy. The chains and the beard, yeah, he shaved his beard and everything else, but he just looks like that kind of guy that I wouldn't really enjoy having a beer with and sitting down and BSing about anything with. I just don't. He's not that kind of a guy for me. But I'll put my personal bias. He might be the nicest guy ever. Who knows? I have no idea. But it's just one of those things when it looks like a duck and acts like a duck, it's probably a duck. That's what I see with Verdugo. So I'm going to have to put that behind me a little bit and see how his season goes and see how he gets off to. I might be singing some different praises come June with Verdugo, but he has to really win me over. It's one of those things that he's kind of one of those guys you don't like, and you have to learn to like him. What is for me? So I hope that Verdugo gets off to a good season. I can put that the personal bias behind me, because as you get older, you shouldn't really care what a person does and doesn't do off the field. Because I talked about earlier on today, like you can't put these guys on too big of a pedestal. You're there to watch a game, be entertained, and see you later. But Verdugo, he's one of those guys that I hope does well, and then maybe I'll start to like him a little bit more as a human being. Like I said, I don't know the guy, I never talked to him. He just has that look. I didn't really care for the guy, but I hope he has a good season. And Volpe's going to be hitting 8th in the lineup. You just wonder if he's going to have as good a season as he did last year. His bat was solid. The sophomore slump is an actual thing. It's happened over and over because there's some surprises now, but surprises are pretty much few and far between with the way analytics work throughout baseball. And you just you hope that he can have as good a season as last year. If he matches his numbers that he had last season, I think that's a success for the Yankees. I don't think if he obviously goes up above and beyond what he had last season, it's even better. But if he just stays up par for the course, doesn't go into that sophomore slump, I think the Yankees will be really happy with the decision that they made last year, sticking with Anthony Volpe on Volpening Day and going that route. I don't think it's a bad thing as long as he can stay the status quo. And then at catcher, they're going to have Austin Wells, who didn't have a great time with the Yankees last year when he got brought up from the minor leagues. He wasn't great, but anything you get out of your pitch, out of your catcher position, because Higashioka, the longest serving tenured Yankee, he got dealt in the Soto trade. He put some good at bats together and everything else, but whatever you can get out of that catcher's position is just a bonus for what the Yankees are going to do. So that's where they stand going through the opening day lineup as it sits right now. But everything's got to go right for your team to have any kind of success. Things have to go properly, and every team feels the same way. Like it doesn't take much for a team to go sideways. An injury here, an injury there, a slump, and everything else, and some pitching problems like they had last year. It won't be long before we're worried about the Yankees pitching prospects, and not prospects, but how the staff is going, because no matter what, that's what it didn't take long last season before we were like, oh Jesus, Rodon wasn't going. You didn't have Nestor Cortez as good as he was the year before, so I'm a little bit concerned with that. I was going to touch on this a couple weeks ago when it happened, was Marcus Stroman getting picked up by the Yankees on I wouldn't say a team-friendly deal, because they're kind of panicking a little bit, and me and Jim were talking about it when earlier on in the fall there, when the Yankee season was done, that they're going to have to overpay, and I think they may have overpaid a little bit with a guy like Marcus Stroman, who the Yankees, to a man in their front office, didn't want Stroman around when he was he was pining to come to the Yankees a couple of years back, and they said there wasn't any room for him in the rotation. Stroman had a really good year last season, and there was a point that I thought he was going to get traded at the deadline last year from the Cubs and be a strong pickup maybe for a team like the Baltimore Orioles getting into their playoff run, but didn't happen, and he was a free agent. He just signed with the Yankees, and his attitude leaves a little bit to be desired, and that comes right from John Gibbons. Listened to Overdrive a few months ago, the TSN guys, and they had Gibbons on talking about Stroman, how he's become a little bit too big for his britches, and he's not really the most liked person in the clubhouse anymore. He's kind of gone to a different level of stardom in his own head. When he comes to the Yankees, I think he's going to know that he's not the big dog there by any means. He's probably fourth or fifth down the pecking order of what's going to happen and who's going to be asked questions and everything else. And he's just there to pitch every fifth day, and that's it. And I think he's going to learn that really quick, and that he's just a pitcher there, and he's not going to be trying to be anybody else. He's not there to promote his brand. He's there on a couple of a 2-3 year deal, and it's just okay. Here it is. You're pitching. Garrett Cole's our guy. Judge is the guy, Soto's the guy this year, and hopefully they can get something done with him as well. But I don't know how much I like the Stroman thing, because he seems like he'd be the kind of guy that can divide a clubhouse pretty quickly. He doesn't get he wasn't getting a lot of interest from other teams. He ended up with the Yankees and got a bit of an overpayment like we talked about. But it's just one of those things. I don't know how much I'm going to like him with Verdugo. Those two guys, are they going to be the kind of guys that might divide a clubhouse? Because those guys seem to be very polarizing. Not those guys. Those type of guys seem to be very polarizing for some reason in professional sports, in clubhouses throughout sports, where they talk behind people's backs and they get groups and cliques and things going. And it seems like Stroman and Verdugo are those type of guys. So you remember a few weeks back, I talked about when Verdugo was with the Dodgers. They basically Clayton Kershaw went to Dodgers brass and said, get rid of this guy, get him out of our clubhouse. He's a pain in the ass, and he's basically a piece of garbage. So let's get rid of this guy. And that's what happened. But Verdugo, I think he's already been told, like, you know what, this isn't your clubhouse. This is the Yankee way. This is how we're doing things. And the Red Sox fans, they're more than happy to see Verdugo go and not stick around. So I'm a little bit worried about what those guys bring to a clubhouse. It seems to be pretty tight with Rizzo coming back. They seem to have something on the right page. Are they a championship team? I'm not exactly sure. Do I hope they're a championship team? 100%. And do I have my hesitations? 100%. You got to stay healthy, but every team has to stay healthy. But you got to have the pitching staff going forward, and I don't know if they do yet. I don't want to put close the book on Carlos Rodon on the 28th of January 2024, before the proverbial pitchers and catchers report in just over 2 weeks, and spring training games start in just over 3 weeks. So you don't want to put the nail in the coffin already. But I have my worries about Rodon and his health, and I have my worries about Cortez going forward. And I haven't done a lot of reading. Is Domingo Germán, has he gone away from the team for good now? I'm fairly certain he is, after his problems with alcohol and everything else is going on with that man, because the most uncelebrated perfect game in baseball history was the one pitched by Domingo Germán last season. It's kind of weird how that just went away. Personal problems, everything else. People don't want that around. So you got to get rid of those catchers in the clubhouse, but you got to get guys like Rizzo, a good clubhouse guy. You get him back healthy, and hopefully he can stick around all season long, and hopefully his health problems are way behind him. It's going to be a tough slog. Are they a championship team? Because I think that they've done more than any other team, which isn't saying much considered. Like this, I'm just talking in the American League East, because the Jays really haven't done anything. They lost Chapman. They're hoping, I think that their big acquisition is just hoping that Vladdy Guerrero Jr. has a better season. That's all they're really hoping for there. So that's their big acquisition, is hoping and praying. It's one of those things. And because the Baltimore Orioles didn't do a whole bunch, but that's 18 game difference is a lot to make up in one season. And I don't think that was an epiphany with that team being that good. Will they take a slide back from their 99 wins where they had last year? Probably, but 18 games, a lot to make up for the Yankees. I don't think the war of their acquisition is going to add up to that. Soto is going to help a lot. I understand that, but Soto's only going to help out as much as Giancarlo Stanton's going to improve, right? The way that's all going to turn out. So the baseball lineup's a funny thing to watch, because this guy has to hit and that guy's got to get on base, and on it goes. But when you have automatic outs like they had somewhere in places in the lineup last year, especially with Giancarlo Stanton, you worry about that a lot. And can the pitching staff get to the bullpen, which was still really, really good last year? So you just hope that it is that way with the Yankees next year, the season coming up. And I think they'll be okay. I don't know if they're a World Series team, but we'll see. And you'll see what they can do, what their pitching staff might do, and everything else. It's going to be tough. Like I said, 18 wins is a lot to make up in one season. Can it be done? Yes. Have they done it before? Has the team done it before? 100%. You look at what the Baltimore Orioles did with their win improvement last year. The Yankees are improved more than anybody else in the American League East. Then because who knows what Tampa's doing? But Tampa's Tampa. Tampa will be okay no matter what in the American League East. They somehow work it all out, and they figure it out and they get wins. Will Toronto be better? As long as Vladdy's better, they're going to be better. It's just, and that's one of those things. But you can't hope that people just could come out of that. Is their pitching staff any better? Who knows? Is Manoah coming back? Probably not. And then you have the Boston Red Sox, who are just the Red Sox. I don't think they've improved themselves a lot as much as some of the Red Sox faithful out at Fenway Park at Hope. So the Yankees have improved. They're a better ball team than they were last year. Let me know your thoughts. Get back to some social media at _1420, and then on our Facebook account 1420 Sports, and then email me if you want to just email me, and we can talk about it 1420sports@gmail.com today, and we'll talk to you. Remember, hey, subscribe to our YouTube channel and everything else. We got a lot going on there. But there's my thoughts on the Yankees lineup. I'm sure it'll change 48 times before the season starts, and by the time we get to opening day and then to the All-Star break and then the end of the season, hopefully it's a successful one. And I'm not complaining with Jim at the Fan of the Van about the exact same thing that happened again. Is this team good enough? How safe is Boone? We'll talk about that next week, where we think this team's going to be by the time the All-Star break comes around, if Boone hasn't produced a winner. Because I think the lineup is there for him to be better. It's only a matter of getting all pieced together. Your lineup's only as good as the guy's hitting, right? If a guy's hitting 320 up and down the lineup, you're going to be okay. But all of a sudden, a hit here, a hit there, the way math works, all of a sudden the guy's hitting 280. It's a big difference, right? So it's interesting to see how it goes. The season's going to be an exciting one. I'm expecting a better than 82 and 80 record. I'm thinking about 90 and 72 is kind of what I'm hoping, because that should get you into the playoffs. 92 wins will get you in for sure. But that's a 12-game improvement, and that's a lot going on. It's only a matter of time before. The biggest question is how long. For me, like, how long does Stanton stick around this Yankees lineup or until he sits on the bench, or he actually asked for a trade, considering what Cashman said last just when the offseason first started about how he didn't produce. So there might be a short leash both sides with Stanton. Like, he might just get sick of it if he doesn't play and say, you know what, I'm out, trade me, and that might be a blessing. Who knows? But anyways, 1420 Sports Bar Podcast and the Yankee Week Review is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase over there at SeatGeek. And here's a little word from our friends over there at SeatGeek.
SeatGeek presents Boomstick Lady. SeatGeek helps her find the perfect seat so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Oh, okay. SeatGeek handles the tickets so fans can fan.
All right, thanks to our friends over there at SeatGeek for sponsoring the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, the Yankee Week in Review, and 1420 in the morning, and all the different endeavors we have going on here. Make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel today, just like that little guy's saying there. Hit the button, subscribe, like, and hit the little bell for all the notifications. Let you know that we're out there to talk about all things sports. Anyways, let's get to Yankees' birthday. Get you guys out of here for the day. Happy 47th birthday to former New York Yankee Lyle Overbay, born on this day in 1977 in Centralia, Washington. Overbay was drafted in the 18th round of the 1999 draft by the Arizona Diamondbacks out of University of Nevada, Reno, and played 14 seasons in the big leagues, including the 2013 season where he played for the Yankees after signing as a free agent at the end of spring training after being released by the Boston Red Sox. In his one season with the Yankees, Overbay hit .240 with 14 home runs and 59 RBIs while appearing in 142 games on a Yankee team that finished 85-77 on the season in what was Yankees legend reliever Mariano Rivera last season in the big leagues. That's the first year, 2013 was the first year I went to a Yankee game in the Bronx, so I kind of remember that very well. Probably saw Overbay play a couple of times. I was there for a Red Sox series in September of that season, right before the great Mariano Rivera retired. So happy birthday to former New York Yankee Lyle Overbay. It's funny when you go through these, you try to find a Yankee especially for these Yankee Week in Review, and Lyle Overbay was it's getting down to the nitty gritty when Lyle Overbay's your guy. But I found some great highlights there. if you didn't watch on YouTube, make sure you do and go and check out those videos that we put out here from 1420 World Headquarters, otherwise known as the Yankee Tavern North. Thank you very much for listening to the show today. We appreciate everybody that does on a daily basis. Go Yankees, and remember, everybody, smart people bunt. Have yourself a day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.